They say that breakfast is the most important meal of the day, which is why I eat it for lunch and dinner as well. Now, I love a big plate of hearty scrambled eggs, but I can get real tired of the onion and pepper routine. So Keith's here. He's going to show us some new ways to deal with hearty scrambled eggs.
Yeah, there are plenty of recipes out there that load the scrambled eggs up with cheese, bacon, sausage. We wanted to update scrambled eggs, something a little fresher, a little bit more healthy. So today we're dealing with asparagus. We really like those grassy flavors. So we're working with 8 ounces of asparagus here, and there's a couple ways that you have to deal with asparagus depending on how thick it is. So if you have slender, thin asparagus like that, it's really quite simple. You just take a knife, lop off about 1 inch on the end, and then cut these into 1/2-inch pieces. I'll just put that into our bowl here. Now, if you have bigger asparagus like this, which I would call kind of a medium-sized spear, it's the same thing, but there's one more step. You take the bottom inch off, but then you have to get out your peeler. So you want to just take that down, that kind of woody part, until you can see the white asparagus underneath.
You're cutting the asparagus instead of snapping them off.
Yes, we've kind of changed our stance. When you snap asparagus, picking it up and breaking it off, you're losing too much asparagus. You didn't need to take that much off. So peeling it does just fine, because really what you're trimming off is that kind of woody, papery exterior right here. So we have 8 ounces of asparagus.
Okay.
Now we can get to our eggs. So we're starting with 8 whole eggs, and that will feed about 4 people once we have all the veggies in there. No matter what you're going to put into scrambled eggs, you want tender scrambled eggs. Now, normally what we want to do is we want to interrupt those proteins as they link together when they cook. So we normally interrupt that protein with dairy, 1/2 and 1/2 milk. That will kind of ease that up and make sure that it's tender. But today we wanted a different flavor profile here. We have 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. That kind of grassiness of the olive oil will pair well with the asparagus. A tablespoon of minced fresh chive, a 1/4 teaspoon of table salt, and a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. I'm just going to take a fork and mix these up. That's it.
Great.
So I'm going to set that aside. Now, before we cook our eggs, we're going to cook our asparagus. We wanted to cook them separately. We had a hard time kind of finding the right balance of getting crisp, tender asparagus and properly cooked eggs. So I have a teaspoon of extra virgin olive oil in here, and I'm going to add a clove of minced garlic. And I'm just going to cook this over medium heat. We're just going to heat this in a cold pan, and what we're looking for is that garlic to get fragrant. We don't need to cook it, we don't need to brown it, just really quick. So this garlic is going to cook in the oil for about 1 minute. You can start to smell that, it's starting to sizzle, and that's all we really want to do. So we'll add our asparagus to this, just stir this around really quickly. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of water, and I'm going to cover the skillet. So that will create steam. That steam will efficiently cook the asparagus, and it'll just be 3 or 4 minutes. It'll be nice and crisp and tender. We can take that out of the skillet. Okay, so this has been about 3 minutes. That asparagus is looking nice. You can smell that garlic.
Sure can.
Now what we want to do is we just want to evaporate any excess liquid that we have in there. We don't want that to sog out our eggs. So this just takes a minute. I think that looks great. So if you could cut that heat for me.
You bet.
I'm going to transfer this over to a bowl really quickly. Wipe this out so we can cook our eggs. We don't want any little bits of garlic hanging out in here burning.
Right.
So now it's time for our eggs. Now, the method that we use here at America's Test Kitchen is that we use a 2-heat method. We start really high to create those nice billowy curds, and then we cut the heat down to low to make sure that we don't overcook the eggs in that skillet. It only takes like 2 minutes to cook scrambled eggs.
Right.
So I'm going to start with 2 teaspoons of extra virgin olive oil, and I'm going to be over medium-high heat. We're just going to let that preheat until the oil is shimmering.
Okay.
Okay, so our oil is shimmering, and it's now time to cook our eggs. So I'm going to add these on medium-high heat. I'm going to cook it really quickly until that spatula leaves a nice trail through there. This is going to take 30 to 60 seconds, and we'll cut it down to low heat and finish it.
Okay.
Okay, nice big curds here. Now I think it's time to turn it down to low heat. Thank you very much.
You got it?
I'm just going to let this finish really slowly here. Make sure that we don't overcook our eggs.
Gotcha.
And we also want to add our asparagus pretty soon here because we want the eggs to form around our vegetables. So I'm going to add this now.
If you were to cook the eggs much longer, you would have eggs with a side of asparagus rather than asparagus eggs.
That's right. Okay, I think this looks great. Just transfer this over to our serving platter here. Beautiful.
Ugh.
Now this would probably be pretty good on its own, but I have a couple finishes. 2 ounces of smoked salmon here. I'm just gonna tear these into half-inch strips, gonna drape this over our eggs like this. It's silky, it adds a little bit of richness, some saltiness. It's gonna really go well with that grassy asparagus.
A bit of smoke in there.
I also have 1 tablespoon of fresh chives here that we'll just sprinkle over the top.
Beautiful.
A little bit of green. I think it's time to eat.
I think you're right.
Make sure you get some smoked salmon
Thank
on top
you.
here.
Oh, gorgeous.
Can I serve you some toast?
Yes, please.
Okay. Enough waiting. Let's try these.
Okay. Silky. Buttery, even though there's no butter in there, the olive oil, it keeps a really beautiful, silky, custardy texture.
Yeah, and it gives a hint of flavor in the background. You can still taste the smoked salmon, the asparagus, but you get a hint of that kind of olive oil grassiness in the back.
Now, this is a beautiful combination, but the test kitchen has cooked up a couple more variations for you. We have pinto beans with cotija cheese and also shiitake mushrooms with feta cheese, and you can get those on our website. Elegant but hearty, and that's really difficult to do. Thanks, Keith.
You're welcome.
Well, if you'd like to make these beautiful scrambled eggs, beat eggs with extra virgin olive oil and chives. Cook garlic in a skillet and then add asparagus and water. Steam the asparagus, remove them from the skillet, and then cook eggs until they're just slightly wet. Fold in the asparagus, transfer it all to a serving dish, top with smoked salmon and chives. So from America's Test Kitchen, scrambled eggs with asparagus, smoked salmon, and chives. Yeah, 4? Serves 4?
Is this your 4th breakfast?
Yeah, it's noon. I'm on at least 3rd breakfast.
Thanks for watching America's Test Kitchen. What'd you think?
Well, leave a comment and let us know which recipes you're excited to make, or you can just say hello.
You can find links to today's recipes and reviews in the video description.
And don't forget to subscribe to our channel.
See you later.
I'll see you later.